Hi guys, it's Kelly here, and I'm back with another video featuring some products from Honeybee Stamps. I am using Everything Beautiful Sweet Songs, and then this is the Lace Heart layering frames. I wasn't sure if I was going to use it, but I did end up using it. So basically, I haven't had a card where I could just like sit and color in a minute, and that's what I wanted to do. So it's been a while, and the first time I used the Everything's Beautiful, it was like a much softer kind of like spring coloring, and I really wanted to do them in like kind of some like bright summer colors. So this card ended up being an anniversary card just because that's more likely in my life to get used as if it's an anniversary card. But this would also be a great birthday card or wedding card. All of those sentiments are included in the Sweet Songs, which is adorable with like this scrolly little like music thing. It's so cute. Anyway, as you can tell from the title, we are just gonna color, make a pretty card, and have a little story time. So here I've stamped them in one corner. You could stamp it exactly the same just by flipping your paper, but I did want them to be just a little bit different, and especially since this particular like bouquet is drawn with no direction in mind, you could use it either way. I wanted to flip it so that I could get some of the other like orientations of the flowers. So I'm just going to flip that and stamp it twice. You could absolutely do this as a one layer card if you wanted to mask these two bouquets and then, do your other stamping. And I think it honestly, like with the little corner pieces, I think that would be a really pretty one layer card with just like a nice sentiment, a large sentiment in the center. But that's not what I'm doing today. I'm going to do some stamping and some die cutting. In this little Sweet Song set, there are 4 birdies. I colored all 4 of them, but I actually only ended up using 3. And the other one will just kind of go into the stamp set for me to use in the future if I should so choose to. These are definitely drawn in more of kind of like a vintage style, like old school kind of birthday cards, which I think is really cute. And you know, like I said, you could use it for a bunch of different stuff. They've got a lot of good sentiments. Honeybee always has really good sentiments. But yeah, so that's what we're doing today. As far as story time goes, I feel like we have not even talked about the fact, like we've touched on it briefly, but that my oldest is now going into middle school. I don't even know how I feel about it. Like he is like, yep, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to be done with elementary. But like, am I ready to be done with elementary school? I'm super proud of him, and he's come really far, and he struggles. I think I've told you guys this. He struggles in school with his grades and things, and he, really did kind of put in the work to pull them up at the end. But I'm very sympathetic, very, very, very sympathetic, because school was hard for me, and not because I didn't have the intelligence to do it. It was just it was just hard for me. I'm not a person who is very rigid. I'm very much like go with the flow. And I struggle with like organization and things. And so that was always a struggle for me. And I see that in my child. I wish that was not one of my personality traits that I had passed on. But in the genetics lottery, we don't always get to pick. And so I just have to trust that God has created him with all the characteristics that he needs to be the person that he is supposed to be. Side note, back to the card. So here, even though I drew this stamp set, when you stamp only part of an image, it can be hard to figure out what needs to be colored what. And a really good way to make sure that you're getting all of your pieces parts is to lay your acetate that comes in your stamp set right over top of it. And then it'll show you the full image so that you can figure out where you need to color what. So like, especially the ones on the ends, like I had no idea if those were flowers or if those were leaves. And so laying the acetate down really does help. Alternatively, you can totally just wing it because nobody is going to know but you. So if you color a flower petal that's, only half stamped on there as a leaf, then guess what? Now it's a leaf. it has transformed magically into a leaf. So it's no big deal. But if you're a person like me and you like to try to get them as close to the original image as possible, use the acetate trick. It's super helpful. So, anywho, we've had so many activities for the end of the year that are kind of like special for fifth graders. One of the things that they do is they do a rocket launch. So as part of their science class, they build a rocket, and then they have like a family picnic day where they can, their family members can go, and it goes all day, guys, like all day. And our particular day, which I'm not complaining because it was better than rain, but it was like a high of 88, which in Ohio in May is totally unheard of. For reference, when I brought my sweet little peanut butter home from the hospital at the end of May, it was snowing. So yeah, like, well, it could either be one extreme or the other or somewhere in the middle. We had 2 weeks of like super hot weather, and then this week has been like in the 60s, which is really more the norm for us. So anywho, so we had Rocket Day, and that was great. We went, and he, of course, like dropped him off at school or whatever. Then we went and picked up the Chick-fil-A for breakfast, got him a little breakfast Sammy, came back, spread out our blankets on our chairs, hung out. Fortunately, we didn't have to wait too terribly long for him to set off his rocket. He set it off within like an hour and a half of us getting there. And so then we were sitting with another, like his best friend, his mom. But obviously we're well versed in knowing each other because our kids are best friends. And she's actually a super nice lady. So anyway, we were sitting with her, so he was able to sit with his BFF. So when it was time for us to go, he was cool with that. So his rocket did go the farthest, but probably because in the rocket there is a parachute that's built in, and his parachute did not go off, which means when it went up super high, it didn't then, eject its parachute so that it would kind of slowly fall down. His went up high and fast and came down just as fast, but it did go the farthest, so he was excited about that. So we had that. Then we had field day, and I volunteered for field day. Anybody else, any other like PTO, we call it PTO here, like PTA is what it is. Like any other moms like have regret after you sign yourself up for something. It's like when I worked outside of the house and I signed up for overtime, it was like the closer that the date got, the more regret set in. Now, of course, once I went and did it, I had no regrets about doing it. But when it's like looming before you, you're like, oof, what did I get myself into? Why have I done this? Oh, I should also mention, like, if you are a person who's not here for the chat, you've probably already exited stage left. But if you're still here, the actual, like, instructional portion of the video will be over on the Honeybee channel. This is just me and my friends are catching up on my life video. So if you are not interested in my family, I don't blame you. It's totally fine. My feelings are not hurt. Just go watch it on the Honeybee channel. So anyway, so we did field day, and for field day, I don't know about the rest of you, but like I didn't have field day when I was young. I had it in 7th and 8th grade. That was it. That was like my middle school years. And then once you get to high school, of course, there's nothing. Like they don't do anything special for you until, you actually graduate. But they're like the elementary school field days around here, they are like all out. They have, the day starts off with what they call the Great Inflatable Race, which I had no idea what that was last year when I volunteered for field day. Apparently, I missed that portion of the day. I don't know how, because I was there in the morning, but anyway. And so I thought it was going to be like a race through inflatables, like bounce houses, like obstacles. No, my friends. No, these teachers, God love them. These teachers dress up in inflatable suits. Like they wear inflatable suits. There was a unicorn. There was a frog. There was a giraffe. the wind came out of her sails real quick. They like just dress up in all kinds of fun costumes, and then they race in their inflatable costumes, which I have to admit is very entertaining to watch. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of fun. And then from there, their field day kicks off with so many activities. So they have like your general kind of like gym class activities, jump rope, like the little, I don't even know what they call that, where you have the big like parachute. It's like a rainbow colored parachute and everybody has the ends and you're like flying it up and down. Anyway, I don't even know. I did it when I was a kid, but I don't know that it has a name. If it does, if you're a teacher and you know what that rainbow parachute thing is that you like all the kids circle around the edge, drop me a comment so I know what that is. They did sponge races. They had a water balloon fight. They had tug of war. They played kickball. And then I was over at the bounce houses. So there were 3 bounce houses. They're all set up to be like a race. So 2 kids go at a time. And it was funny because later on, the art teacher, and she's who gave everybody their assignments, was like, yeah, I very specifically picked certain people for certain things based on their strengths. Because one of the other moms was like, hey, listen, is there a way to like make documentation? I was on tug of war this year and I don't want to be on tug of war next year, which I don't blame her. I'm sure it was very hard to referee. And she was like, yeah, I'll make a note of it. She was like, but I do try to give people based on their strengths. She's like all the bounce house people I picked because I knew that they weren't going to take any stuff from any of these kids. And I kind of was laughing to myself because that's 100% true. I treat all of those kids like they were my own kids. And honestly, they were really well behaved. They did really good. I think twice I maybe had to say something to someone. One was like 2 kids were kind of shoving each other. Friendly, like they were racing each other and they were getting ready to go race and they were kind of, like playing, pushing. And then there was one other kid who, I don't know, he was trying to like get a head start, like take his foot off the ground. But anyway, it was fun. I do obviously enjoy getting to see my own child while I am there doing field day. And he was kind of having a hard time because they had lost their kickball game and he didn't think the scoring was fair. So he was a little like grumpy. We were able to get him to come around. I was like, do you want to race on the, bounce house or whatever? So he finally came around and was like, yeah, I want to race you. So I got my old hiney into this bounce house. Mama is not built for speed, y'all. It's been a long time. I do not work out. So he definitely beat me the first time around. But then when we came down, like there's slides on the other side, one of the other PTO moms was like, oh, you should have said something. I would have got a video. So later on, I was like, hey, can we do this again so I can maybe get a video? And so we did do it again. The second time on the like rock wall, he fell. And so I did make it to the top before him, but so we would both be going down the slide at the same time. I just waited for him at the top. And then we went down the little slide together and it's a cute video and I'm grateful for it. So we did all of that. And then, they do like their tug of war. They do 4th versus 5th graders, and then they do 5th graders versus the staff. That's like kind of the cap everything off at the end of field day. And his favorite teacher that he ever had was his 4th grade teacher. And so he was able to get a picture with her as well on field day. So he was excited. So it was a very good day. We had good weather. We baked. I kept having like one side was the side where you enter in the bounce house and the other side was the side where they would slide down. And so we had one mom on one side and one mom on the other side. And I was like, can we rotate? I feel like I'm a rotisserie chicken here. I gotta keep rolling so that I don't fry. And yes, I did wear sunscreen. I wore a lot of sunscreen. Having previously had skin cancer, I'm very aware of to wear my sunscreen, and I put it everywhere, including the tops of my feet. And do you know who still has a line of demarcation from her flip-flops? Got a little tan line on my feeties that are flip-flop shaped. So it was a warm one. And did you just get like so tired when you spent all that time out in the sun? So anyway, so that was field day, and that was, when was that? Last Friday? And so then he just had like really a couple of days to kind of watch some movies and things in school. And then the last big thing that they have is their fifth grade farewell. And so what they do for that is they do a clap out. So they like walk, the school is kind of like shaped like a circle. And so they walk the circle and everybody lines the hallways and claps for them. And then they have like their little award ceremony in the gym or cafeteria. I can't remember which one it is. And then they have like they call it a scavenger hunt, but it's really like little activity stations outside. And then the big ending is the parade, the car parade. And they all get to leave a little bit early, because they're done with elementary school, and it's kind of like their little reward for making it through, So my husband recently had purchased a new truck, and I told him, I was like, listen, he's gonna want to take the truck. We know that, but they say that, we can decorate the car and stuff. So if you don't want that stuff on the truck, I totally understand. We can decorate my car. And he was like, no, he can decorate the truck. It's fine. So he went and got him some the window paint daubers so that he could decorate the truck for the little parade, which was very sweet of him, because I know it was challenging to let him draw on the new truck. But so we did that, and then it was optional, who could come. Like, you could bring parents or grandparents or whatever. And so my parents were able to come. My husband's parents were able to come. Obviously, me, my husband, and then my son's dad as well. And it was pretty, like, my son did not seem to be very emotional about it. But I was pretty emotional about it. Like, super proud of him that we, made it through. Super proud of the person that he's becoming. Oh, I can feel myself getting ready to cry, guys. Woo. Okay. All right, we're going to push through. Just that he, he's done safety patrol for the last 2 years, and like, the teacher in charge of safety patrol was just like, I'm going to miss him so much. He's so helpful and kind and reliable, and like, man, if you could pick words that you hope that your child would be described as, those are it, right? So, yeah, just very, very proud of him. Anyway, my husband's gonna watch this video and he's gonna laugh at me because I'm always crying. I'm just like, I'm such a crier. I actually have a girlfriend, Jen, and she always, like, when we talk about things, she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm such a crier. And I'm like, girl, I am also crying. You have nothing to apologize for. Some people just are, and I am. And who else is gonna, like, my husband will watch this and he'll laugh. He'll be like, oh, there she goes again. And my mom will watch this and cry right along with me. So, anywho, it was a good day. We had good weather. He got to decorate the truck and do his little drive out. And, for the drive out, because it's just like within the school parking lot, he did get to be in the bed of the truck. And so it was nice. It was just very nice. And it was nice that everybody, his family, our family could make it, out there to support him and everything else. And he was all smiles and laughing. And, there were some of the stations that he did not want to take part in. That doesn't really surprise me, because that's just how he is. But he did want to partake in the cookie station. Like, no big surprise there. I was able to snag some photos of him and his teacher, so that made me happy. I can't get too picky. I was able to get one of him and his sister before he went to school. So I'm just going to be grateful for what I got, right? Because I know he's coming into that age where he's, not going to want to take any pictures at all. And every time I take a picture, he's going to be like, oh, man, Mom, why are you taking these pictures? So, yeah, I don't look forward to that. So yeah, so now we're moving on to the next, guys. I can't even believe it. I can't believe that it's I think I when did I start this channel? Did I start this channel in 2014? 2014, 2015? I can't remember. But he was like little. I mean, and if you guys, and I know some of you have been around since the beginning. Like I was talking about him like I talk about Jelly Bean now, you know? So crazy. It just, when you, and people tell you this all the time, like, oh, enjoy it, it goes by so fast. Not all parts of parenting are enjoyable, and there's some parts of it that I'm not going to miss once it goes by. Like, I'll be honest. I love both of my children endlessly. There's nothing I wouldn't do for them. But there are some things that I'm just like, yeah, when that stage goes, bye. Like, don't let the door hit you. But there are other things, you know, with him obviously growing up, and he's, you know, very shortly going to be becoming a young man, and there's other things. So I try to keep that in mind when he's being silly and says, you know, like, will you carry me to bed? Even though the kid is more than half my weight, I still do my very best to carry him to bed. Or if he wants me to, you know, when we're putting him to bed and we're going through our bedtime routine and saying our prayers and doing all that, if he asks me to lay with him, I still try to do that, because here shortly, man, he's going to be like, Mom, get out. And I know that. So I'm trying to enjoy what I can while I have it. It does take a little bit of the sting out of it, because I do have a younger one, so I'm not completely done with all the little snuggles. But I know that he's getting to the age where that's not really going to be a thing for he and I anymore. Which is sad, but also, you know, I don't want to hold him back from growing up and becoming the person that he's meant to be, just because I will miss who he is now. So anyway, before I start crying again, let's talk a little bit about this card. So we've done all of the coloring, as you could see. I did stamp the music notes in a light gray, just because I didn't want them to compete with my sentiment. If you don't have a light gray, you could also do that with second generation stamping. So just stamp it off on a piece of paper, you know, in the full strength black, and then use the leftovers to stamp the music notes. The sentiments, a lot of them fit right on the well, I don't, what is that, a score? What do you call that? I don't know. I never played an instrument. Well, I did. I played clarinet poorly, but not long enough to learn how to read sheet music. But anywho, that the sentiments fit on there. But they also have, if you have the die set, they also have dies. So if you feel like it's going to be a little illegible, you could stamp it and cut it out of the die. That's actually what I ended up doing. In order to make this a little bit more interesting, I did decide that I was going to pop mine up. I did find it easier to approach that as if it was one piece. And so that's why I glued everything together and then added my foam tape to pop it up. The only exception to that is my little bird that's in flight. That is not connected. That's kind of like down into the bottom left. The other thing is, with the background, the reason why I decided to do the blue, first of all, you guys know Blue is my boyfriend, and I view blue as a neutral, okay? But also, it's a nice, bright color that's really going to work very well with those bright, like, hot pinks and oranges that we have going on in our florals. But the card was boring. Like, it was just a little bit boring, and it needed something. I didn't want to do something that was going to take away from the focal point, but I wanted to do something that was going to add a bit more interest, which is why I chose to do the salty ocean, kind of lightly blended in the center, and then, you know, the spatters of water, the spatters of perfect pearl. The other thing that I did was I did end up using that lace heart layers. Honeybee has lots of really great layering sets, so if you have one of those, any of those would work. It's just enough to add a little bit of interest kind of around the edges. The fall layering frames is another one that has like a really good one. It almost looks like a braided look on the edge. That would have worked great too. For the rhinestones, is this the Hugs and Kisses? I'm gonna look and tell you. It is Hugs and Kisses gem stickers. Has this really pretty blue that matches that kind of salty ocean, that like B0204 kind of family really well. So I use those. I added some shimmer to just about everything besides the musical score. And then I added some white highlights to the stamen and the flowers, as well as the birds, just to give them a little bit of, kind of fun character. And then here's where I decided that happy anniversary was probably going to look a little bit better, a little bit more legible if I did it on the die. So I went ahead and added that as well. And then I think that is going to be it. That is going to finish off the card. So now that you're all caught up on what's been going on in my life, if you're interested, like I said in the instructions, you can head over to the Honeybee channel to check that out. Thank you guys so much for spending your time with me. I always appreciate you, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.